This is the Mevo Plus, and right now in 2025, this thing is 5 years old. The question is it still any good, and should you buy it? Today, I'm gonna answer that question once and for all. I'm gonna share with you 3 reasons that I think you should absolutely go and buy this product. I'm also gonna share 3 reasons that you absolutely should not, because if there's one thing that is true with golf launch monitors, there is no one size fits all. There is no best. It is just what is best for you. And if you've been thinking about picking this one up, or perhaps one of its competitors, I hope this video is gonna tell you everything you need to know to figure out if this is the right one for you. A few things I want to get out of the way right up front. If you click any of the links below, if you use any of the coupon codes, I will get a commission. This comes at no extra cost to you, and I honestly do not care if you buy any of these products or not. Everything I do here is just to help you find the right products for your needs. That being said, if you do decide this is the right product for you, you can go to FlightScope.com, use the promo code BREAKING80+, and it's going to save you an additional 5%. So hopefully make it an even better deal for you. But like I said, watch to the end of the video because this may or may not be the right fit for what you're looking for. Okay, first reason that you should go buy the FlightScope Mevo Plus, this is in my opinion the biggest reason, and so we're just gonna come right out of the gate hot, is because it is the most full-featured launch monitor really at any price point. Short of a TrackMan, this is the most full-featured launch monitor out there, and the fact that you can get all of the features that come with this for under $3,000 is pretty mind-blowing. So let's talk real quick about what some of those features are. Okay, so first up is the app. I personally love the app because it provides a truly professional level experience while still being very user-friendly. And when I say professional, I'm serious, because this product right here, this is the FlightScope X3C. It costs $15,000. It uses the same app as this. And I mean, honestly, the features between these two are like 95% the same. We'll get into that in a different video, but you're getting truly professional level features with the Mevo Plus. So within the app, you have just about every data parameter you could ever want. You can also set thresholds. So if you're measuring angle of attack and you want it to be green if you are within those parameters, and red if you are outside of those parameters, so you can see if you hit what you deem a good shot or not, this can do that. If you're trying to compare drivers and you want to see which one is the better fit for you, and you want to label them, you want to see dispersion circles, you want to see how they compare, you can easily do that. If you want club path data, angle of attack, swing data, even impact detection to see exactly where on the club face you're hitting the ball, if you get the Pro package with impact detection, you can get all of that information. And I don't think there's another launch monitor out there for under 10 grand that will do impact detection, and it works surprisingly well. So I could go on and on and on about the usability, the metrics of the app, but just know if you're someone that likes to get into the data, if you want to practice and analyze every single aspect of your game, the FlightScope app is incredible for that. But that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg when it comes to features. There's a multicam app, so if you want to set up to 4 different cameras to get every angle and have all of that data directly imported into the app with shot data, you can do that. If you want a live shot tracker with your actual swing, you can do that. Not like every other launch monitor where it shows you a virtual range and you can see the ball, but no, you can set up a camera and you can actually see in real time the shot tracker that you hit from your shot. This is the only device that can do that. There's an environmental optimizer. So if you want to control the temperature, the wind, the elevation, so that your practice conditions are going to match up with the conditions you're going to be playing on the course, you can do that. And just recently, they released a round planner where what you can do is up to 3 days in advance, you can pick the golf course that you are going to play. It's going to take actual data and conditions from that course, things like elevation and what the weather is supposed to be like on the day you play, at the time you play. And then what the app will do is it will create a plan for you based on all of your data. So if it knows that you tend to miss right and there's out of bounds all right, it's gonna help make a suggestion to minimize the possibility of that happening. So you can take this, you can print it out, you can use it during your round. As far as I know, it's tournament legal to have that information, but you can basically have a game plan down to what your yardages should be, what your layups are looking like, what clubs you want to plan to use, that is all going to be built around what the expected conditions are of that course at the time you're playing. And that's pretty cool. So I could go on and on and on about the features of this app, and while it might not necessarily be the absolute most modern looking, it has gotten a refresh lately, it looks great, the user experience is seamless, and honestly, in terms of everything it provides, it is my favorite launch monitor app out there. Okay, so that was a whole lot on why you should buy this, but let's talk about the first reason why maybe you should not, and that's the fact that at 5 years old, it's starting to feel a little dated. Certain things that you just expect it to have, or certain features that other launch monitors that are a lot less money do really well, this doesn't. And so there's kind of 3 examples I can give of that. First off is it doesn't have USB-C. Every device that comes out these days should have USB-C, and this is still a USB mini port to the point where I just don't have that many of those cords lying around. So when I went to charge this, it took me a while to go find the right cord. So while this isn't something that's going to affect the accuracy in any way with this device, the fact it doesn't have it in 2025, it's still a little disappointing. Along with that, the connectivity options with the Mevo Plus are more limited compared to its competitors. Basically, the only way to connect this to your phone, your iPad, your computer, whatever device you're using, is to use the built-in Wi-Fi. So you turn this on, it's going to emit a Wi-Fi network, you then have to join it, and that's how this is going to communicate with your device. On the surface, this isn't that big of a deal until you need to do something where you need to access the internet and use this at the same time. So say I want to use the E6 app, I want to go play simulator golf, and I want to download the course. So I'll need to disconnect from this unit, reconnect to the internet on my iPad, download the course, disconnect from the Wi-Fi, rejoin this, and then I'll be able to play. So the fact that there's not like a Bluetooth connectivity option, which would allow me to stay connected to the internet on my iPad and use this at the same time, kind of a bummer. Now, if you're using your phone, it's not as big of a deal because you probably have cell service and you can do both of those things at the same time. But for me, I usually use this on my iPad, so it's been an issue. And finally, the last critique I have that kind of shows its age here is the fact that it won't sync between apps. So if I go have a practice session and I use my phone, and then I go back and I'm reviewing data on my iPad app, it won't sync that. So I can't take sessions from my phone and have it show up on my iPad unless I go to the web browser version. So everything will be uploaded to your FlightScope account. You can go to a web browser, log in, and you can get that data, but you can't look at it in the app. And the app experience is, like I said, it's my favorite app experience. It's 1,000 times better than the web browser version, but I also want all my data in one place regardless of which app I'm using. So the fact that I can't easily get sessions from my phone on my iPad or my computer and vice versa, that's a bit of a bummer. Okay, second reason you should consider buying this is because it's so flexible. This device will pretty much allow you to do anything you could want to do in the launch monitor simulator world. So if you want to set up a home simulator in your garage and play Pebble Beach, you can do this. There are actually 12 E6 courses that are included. There are really good courses like Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, Bethpage Black, some really good simulated courses for no extra charge, which is a cool feature. So let's say you then want to pick it up and you want to go to the range. You want to track all the data from your range session. You can do that. It's small, it's portable, it's easy to pick up and move around. So regardless of whether or not you want world-class launch monitor data or you wanted to use it as a sim or anything in between, the ecosystem is really, really strong. You can use it on your phone, your iPad, a computer. It has Apple Watch connectivity. So if you want to just connect it to your phone and get all the data on your watch while you're practicing, that works really well. Also, one other thing to note kind of along these lines is that FlightScope just released this. This is the i4 rangefinder, and what it's going to be able to do is pretty cool. So you can go into the Mevo Plus app and you can do a gapping session, so you can figure out exactly like what your average distances are for each club. When you're out on the course, you compare this with the FlightScope app, and it is going to give you club recommendations based on your actual launch monitor data. This will also take into account wind, slope, everything you would expect from a high-end rangefinder, but it uses your actual data to essentially act as a caddy to help you make the best choices you can on the course. I'm gonna do a whole separate review of this. I actually haven't got on the course with it, but it's pretty cool tech, and I'm excited to check it out. Again, downside, all those platforms don't speak to each other as well as I would like, but pretty much regardless of how you want to use the FlightScope, you're able to. Okay, second reason you might want to skip this, and that comes down to accuracy. When this is set up properly, it's as accurate as anything out there. But this device, compared to some others, is sometimes a little bit trickier to get set up in the way that it needs to be. So first off, you're gonna need at least 16 feet of space to use this. You ideally need 8 feet behind the ball, and you need 8 feet in front of the ball. So that's 16 feet. So if you're setting something up at home, a lot of people just simply don't have that much space, which might rule this out right away. Also, because of the way the Doppler radar in this works, certain environments can cause interference, which may cause this not to work the way it should. So one of the common examples of this is metal. So if you have like a metal shed and you want to build a simulator out there, there's a good chance that all of that metal around you is going to interfere with the Doppler radar and give you less than accurate results. Lighting can also be an issue with this. Sometimes some fluorescent lighting or not having enough light can cause some issues or not allow you to use the fusion tracking technology, which is one of the things that makes this even more accurate. That's essentially when it combines the radar with the built-in camera to give you even more accurate results. But if you don't have the proper lighting set up for that, then sometimes you're not able to enable that feature. I will say for me personally, I have not run into those issues. I've used it out on the range, absolutely no problem. I've got an indoor batting cage, which is where I do a lot of my testing. I've had no problems there. It's basically a lot of concrete, but it does have fluorescent lighting and did not have any issues. I've also set it up in an actual like simulator studio. I've had no issues there. But over the years, I have heard from a handful of readers that have run into issues that usually stem from all of those common causes I just talked about. So if you're hoping to use this in a place with lots of metal, poor lighting, or not ample space, there's a good chance you're not going to be happy with the results. Hey, still not sure which launch monitor is right for you? Go take our 30-second quiz. You're gonna answer some questions around what you're looking for, and I'm gonna give you my best recommendation for the product that's the best fit for your needs. The link is right down there below, and you can do it while you watch the rest of this video. All right, back to it. One thing I do want to note on accuracy, because this is something I went back and tested recently, is I have seen some YouTube comments with people saying the chipping and the putting and the short game stuff does not work well on this. So I went back and I went into the short game chipping mode and the putting mode, and I did some extensive testing, and honestly, I did not have any issues. Now I had quite a bit of space to work with. I had about 20 feet in front of me. There's a big net all around. So this may be different if you're in like your backyard hitting directly into a net and you don't have that 8 feet that it needs in order to get accurate data, but I found the short game and chipping data to be absolutely dead on, and the putting is fine. Like, it was mostly pretty accurate. I'll say it wasn't as good as the putting experience on the new Square launch monitor, which costs a fraction of this. But generally speaking, even with that, I'm not someone that likes to putt on simulators. Like, no matter how accurate it is, the experience for me just isn't great. So putting with any of these launch monitors or devices is not something that usually goes into my personal criteria for what makes a good device. All right, third reason why I think you should still buy this in 2025 is the price. So retail, this is $22.99. You can almost always find it on sale for $19.54, sometimes even a little bit less. And if you use that coupon code I mentioned before, Breaking80Plus, it's gonna knock an additional 5% off of that. So you can usually find this for quite a bit less than $2,000. Now that price point is kind of a no man's land right now. So there's a number of cheaper devices. The Rapsodo MLM2 Pro, $699, the Square, $699, the Voice Caddy SC4 Pro, $599 or $499 if you use our discount there. So you have a bunch of budget models, but then you've got Foresight and Bushnell, which completely changed their lineup and made them more expensive. So you used to be able to get the ball-only Bushnell Launch Pro for $2,000. So very comparable price to this, not as feature-friendly, but arguably more accurate due to the 3-camera system that it uses. Now they're discontinuing that. Instead, they're replacing it with the Bushnell LPI, which is gonna cost $27.99. It's not gonna have a built-in screen, and it's gonna be for indoor use only. So all of a sudden, for me, you've got a device that's not as capable, it's more expensive, and you have to have a $500 a year subscription to be able to use any of the software. So what I always considered one of the biggest competitors in this price point, they just kind of completely changed their model to the point where I don't think that's as good of a value anymore. So I think the bigger comparison is going to be to some of these less expensive models like the Square, which are very capable for a whole lot less money. But I'll do a more direct comparison to some of those in a future video. So if you do want all the features, the Pro package, which is going to give you all of your club data, impact detection, which is going to show you exactly where on the club face you're hitting the ball, those are extra packages. The Pro package retails for $1,000. Impact detection is $500, but you can almost always find those on sale, and you can use our coupon code that's going to drop those down. So a good price to get everything during a sale period, which happens frequently, is kind of right around like $2,600. And so $2,600 for all of that is insane. The SkyTrack Plus is another one that's kind of right in that price range. I found the accuracy on that to be fine, not world-class. You do have to have a subscription, and it is missing angle of attack, which I think is kind of a big deal because that's one of the metrics I look at most. The other big selling point with this is the fact there is no subscription. So you can use E6, you can use all of the professional features in the app, you can use all the data, you can use the multicam stuff, and you don't have to pay anything extra. And that's huge because, like I said, with the new Bushnell LPI, the Foresight GC3S, you have a $500 a year subscription, and you have to have that if you want to use a third-party app. So if you want to use GS Pro, you're spending $500 a year for Foresight and $250 a year for GS Pro. It's $750 a year just to use GS Pro with the new Bushnell or the new Foresight launch monitors. This, no subscription aside from the GS Pro, it's $250 a year, you're good to go. But this also leads us to the third reason why maybe you shouldn't buy that, and that is if your primary use is just wanting to use this as a simulator, then this may or may not be the best fit. And part of the reason I say that is because this exists. So this is the Square launch monitor, which I just did a review of. There are a lot of you out there that are staunch defenders of this thing. I gave it a mostly positive review, but I did talk about some of the drawbacks, namely the software. There are some major limitations with the Square software if you want to dig into the data. If you are really in practice mode and you want to compare shots and contrast and track your progress over time, you're not able to get and use and manipulate and track all that shot data within the app with the Square. You have to export it to a CSV and do it that way, which is super cumbersome. So if you're looking to do all that, the FlightScope app is light years better than this, Rapsodo, Garmin for doing that. But, and there's a big but, if you don't care about any of that, and all you want to do is play simulated golf on GS Pro, $700 with the GS Pro subscription. And that's a killer deal. This is going to be easier to set up. It's optical, so it takes up less space. There are a number of drawbacks to it, so you should go watch the full review if you're interested. But if all you care about is playing simulator golf at home, you don't necessarily need a lot of the stuff that this provides, which leans towards professional level practice and data tools. If you just want to play sim golf and make it easy, then this is going to do a really good job for a fraction of the price. A quick caveat to that is if you want to play simulator golf with multiple friends or people in your household, and people are both right and left-handed, if you're using an optical unit like this, it does not work as well because you put this next to the ball will be right here, and if someone's left-handed, you're gonna have to then switch it and move it over here. And every time you switch it and reset it up, you're running the risk of losing accuracy because it's not set up properly. With the Doppler unit, this sits behind the ball. You don't have to move it. Right, left-handed, does not matter. So if you're one of the people that's in that situation, a Doppler unit or an overhead unit are probably going to be a better fit for you. And I do want to reiterate this part. If putting in your simulated golf is really important to you, like I said, this works fine, but in my experience, optical units generally work better, specifically the Square. So again, the Square is a lot less money, and I think it gives you a better putting experience than what you're going to get here. So there you go. Those are my reasons for why I think you should buy the Mevo Plus and why I think you should not. Full disclosure, the Mevo Plus is my personal favorite launch monitor. When I'm going out to practice, that is the one that I turn to just because I like the app experience so much in everything it provides, in all of the data, in all of the metrics, and I think it is awesome. But the reality is there are a number of products out there that are easier to set up, they're cheaper, and in some cases they might be even more accurate. Many of those do make compromises in other ways, but the FlightScope has its own compromises too. So like I said, there is no right or wrong answer. There is no best. It is just what is best for you and your specific needs. And honestly, the good news for all of us, regardless of which launch monitor you buy, is these days, the newest ones coming out are all very good for what they are. You know, don't expect a $500 unit to be as good as a $15,000 unit. But honestly, in many cases, the accuracy and the differences between those different price points are definitely not as stark as you might expect them to be. So it's a great time to be a golfer that's into tech. With that, my name is Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Breaking 80, where we talk about cool golf products and cool golf courses. If you got some value out of this, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button, give this a thumbs up, drop a comment if you have any questions, and I will do my very best to answer every single one. And again, if you're still not sure which one is right for you, go take our 30-second quiz. You're gonna answer a few questions about what you're looking for, and I'm gonna give you my best recommendation on the one I think is gonna be the best fit for you. With that, I hope you have an excellent day, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.